Hello, folks. This is Fire Larry and Charlie. Charlie, as usual, is sitting under the desk whenever I'm sitting at my desk, and he just listens to what I say, and he agrees with everything I say, whether he knows it or not. But in any event, I'm here today to talk briefly about a topic that one of the subscribers asked me to create a video about, and that was simple money management. Now, I'm not a financial expert, but I just have many years of experience tracking my own money. And and when I say tracking, I'm talking about money coming in and money going out. And that's simply all it's about is simple money management. And of course, money coming in depends on whether you have a job or not, or some source of income, whatever it may be. A lot of folks, when they get paid, they don't realize how much they have to go out during that pay period, and they simply spend until there's no more there. Well, that's fine if you're, have a large balance in your savings account, and you can draw from that or other sources if you need to. But quite frankly, that's not the way life works. We have money that comes in through our jobs, in some cases retirement, whatever the source is. That's the income that we have to live on, and that's the income we have for retirement savings and savings for vacations, for unexpected expenses like car repairs, or even for long-term investments, saving money for a down payment to purchase a home or to purchase a vehicle, a boat, an RV, property, whatever it may be, investments, sources of income is where that generally comes from. So, from a more simple perspective, most of us either have a job or retirement income that we use to pay our bills. And our bills usually mean places that we have to live, a home, an apartment, things like that, and also our daily needs, our food, paying for utilities, paying for insurance, paying for automobiles, transportation, paying for gas, all of those things that we deal with on a daily basis. So the main thing that we need to understand is how much do we have and how often do we get sources of income. Now, a lot of us get paid every 2 weeks from our employer, or we may get paid once a month if we're on retirement and get Social Security and pensions, or we get sources of income through our investments like IRAs and that sort of thing, 401ks, or defined pensions if we retired from, say, from a government job, whether it's the city, state, or federal government, military pensions. That's our sources of income. Now, with that said, we need to know what that is and we need to track it because that changes periodically and it may, depending on that source of income, if it's a job and we don't work a full 40 hours, we may work by the hour. We need to track that income and know exactly how much we're going to get so that we can allocate money that we get in for all of these things that we need to live on a daily basis. If we're only taking in $2,000 a month and our monthly expenses are $3,000 a month, guess what? We're going to be short quite a bit, as a matter of fact. And those are just simple figures, and those vary from individual to individual. So we need to know what our money is when it comes in. What do we do with that money? Most of us don't get checks anymore. Money is deposited into our bank account. So almost all of us have a bank account where our money comes in, either through direct deposit, or if we do get a check, we deposit it into that bank account. Now, some of us call it a checking account, but quite frankly, if you're like me, you don't write very many checks. Everything goes out because it's either through ACH or through a debit card. And that's what most of us use, is a debit card instead of writing checks. But we do have some monthly expenses that are the same every month, such as a monthly mortgage or a apartment rent or a car payment, those kinds of things. And we may have things that come out periodically. For example, car insurance. Some people pay it monthly, some people pay it semi-annually, that sort of thing. We may have life insurance policies that we pay the same way, either monthly or through semi-annual or annual payments. And we need to know what those are so that we can track those payments that come out of our bank account, checking account. I'll refer to it as a checking account. So that's money out. So we have money in versus money out. And then we have those daily expenses, groceries, gas for our car, things like that. If we go out to a restaurant or if we go somewhere and we have to purchase tickets, if we eat while we're at a ball game, for example, and we use either a debit card or a credit card, we need to track those things. And credit card payments can get out of hand. We're going to talk about that for an example in just a minute. But you need to track your payments on your debit card. And what I mean payments, when you use the debit card, track what you spend on a daily basis. Go to your checking account and deduct it immediately. And if you've got money set aside for future allocations, for example, apartment rent, mortgages, car payments, car insurance, those kinds of things, life insurance policies, make sure that when you allocate those, you deduct them from your balance so that you know that they're already paid. And when they hit your account, there's no surprise. The money's there in your account. So after that's all said and done, whatever money's left is yours for entertainment, to set aside for a vacation, to set aside maybe for a down payment on a home, to set aside for a down payment on a vehicle, those sort of things. And you need to track those as well because those are in your account. You may have a savings account where you transfer those monies and let them kind of sit and use for a later date. So money in versus money out, track it. A lot of folks laugh when they say, well, use a check register. Again, we're not writing checks, but use that register to deduct your payments, to deduct your debit card purchases. A lot of folks, when they use their debit card, they don't get a receipt or they don't care about a receipt, but they don't go back and track the money that they've spent. And if you don't do that, that can be very disastrous at the end of the month, if not sooner. So always keep track of your money in and your money out, and that will help. Now, unfortunately, a lot of folks don't have a lot of money in their savings, and they may be using their credit card to pay for unexpected expenses. Be very careful. I heard on the news the other day that the average credit card balance is $6,000. That's not a short-term loan. That is a long-term loan because, quite frankly, if you've got that much money on your credit card, you won't pay that off anytime soon. And if you're only paying $50, $75, $100 a month, it'll take you years to pay off $6,000. Well, why did you use that credit card in the first place? Because you didn't have the money to begin with. So even if you said, well, I'll never use it again until I pay off my balance, then you've got to have another way to pay for those unexpected expenses. And the only way to do that is to set aside a certain amount each month after you've paid the credit card off after you've paid your credit card payment to use for future unexpected expenses, like car expenses. If you're going out and you're going to buy a set of tires and it's going to be $600, $700, $800 or more, you've got to set aside enough money to pay for that in the future, or any car repairs. So how do you do that? Well, you have to set aside a certain amount. Whatever that is for you, make sure that you deduct it from your money in and set it aside maybe in a special account where you have it allocated and that you're tracking it, but don't take that out and spend it for frivolous items. Make sure you keep it set aside for whatever those future expenses are. And that also becomes part of your daily expense when you think about it. Even though you may set aside a certain amount monthly, you might want to think about setting aside a little bit on your check register, if you will. If you're setting aside $5 a day, $10 a day, whatever it might be, so that at the end of the month, you've saved a little bit of money so that you can use it for the future. these are just some simple tips that I'm passing on to you. And unfortunately, if you find yourself coming up short, you may have to go out and find a part-time job. And some folks may say, I'm not doing that. Well, then you'll never get ahead. So you may have to bite the bullet and say, well, maybe I need to work part-time. And it doesn't matter whether it is, whether it's a fast food, a grocery store, a department store, just do it. Pay off that debt and then stay a little bit longer if you have to start building up that savings account before you think about giving up that part-time job. So it may be 6 months, it may be a year, it may be a year and a half to 2 years, but if you got to do it, and you'll be glad you did. These are just some ideas, and I hope they help, but just remember, track that money coming in and that money going out, and whatever is left, that's yours. Make sure you have some left. So this is Fire Larry. Take care, and we'll see you down the road.